Howdy there, folks.
It's a 10-gallon hat.
So the late 60s, and I'm a movie star. Welcome to, just because I got a hat doesn't mean I'm a movie star. I know. As for the thumbnail, damn it. We just got back from Quentin Tarantino's, eighth film, one of these.
If you don't count a couple of them, I don't know.
And this one is called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And basically, the premise is you've got an old movie star that seems to have his light fading a little bit. He's got a stunt man that is pretty much his best friend. Brad Pitt plays that. The movie star, of course, is Leonardo DiCaprio. Two excellent-ass actors being directed by Quentin Tarantino, who, of course, has a love of cinema and has a very unique style. So, is this movie very good? Well, I'll start. I think that... I set my expectation going in. I saw several people talking about the film beforehand, and I just said, you know what? This film is going to be meandering. It is going to literally just be people talking. Sometimes Quentin Tarantino films have that. And by setting my expectations like that, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a slice of Hollywood life, a big-ass slice. This thing is something like 2 hours and 45 minutes. But overall, I enjoyed peeking in on these characters' lives, and I think the actors themselves really put in a fantastic performance and took otherwise kind of boring material from somebody else and made it fascinating and interesting. What did you guys think?
Well, this was definitely a long movie. I really felt it.
Yeah.
Especially the middle part.
Yeah, there was some sagging in the middle. This is a weird movie because this is to be honest with everyone, this is a movie that's seeing the trailer. I love Tarantino films, and I love we're not doing anything, we're just chatting, and I love those scenes that he does. But there was something about the way this movie was advertised. It didn't catch me. I didn't want to see it today. I didn't want to see it 2 weeks ago. I didn't want to see it the first time I saw it. I didn't care. But
you were hating on this film.
Was.
You were fucking pissing me and making me annoyed. Yeah. But hey, what did you say the movie got you?
No.
Joe, you said the middle drags. I'm going to agree with you. Like, I started to shut my eyes a little bit.
To me, it just felt like there was two main plots that just try to bundle it up to too much in the middle. I was like, look, you don't need... I didn't honestly want the Manson part in there.
No, because I loved everything with Leo and Brad Pitt.
Yes.
If you allow me to call him Leo. But anytime that they're together, it was amazing.
Mr. DiCaprio.
Yeah, Mr. DiCaprio. Anytime Mr. Pitt and Mr. DiCaprio were together, it was amazing. Anytime Leonardo DiCaprio was talking to another actor, it was amazing. I love when they're sitting there. He's talking to a little girl, and it's like this nonsense scene that doesn't matter. And I loved every second of it. So this is a movie of wonderful scenes that I love, and then there's
all of a sudden
there's side plots or there's like a different story, and I just didn't care. And it adds another hour to this movie that if some of that wasn't in there, this movie could have been like
real tight little buddy flick story.
Yes.
Yeah, and I really like that story of people.
And a lot of people say love letter to Hollywood, love letter to the late 60s. What was the other? Bloody Valentine to the old way to make movies. And I agree with that, but I don't understand why. And we had three plot lines. You've got the buddy story, you've got this sort of Manson hippie kind of thing going on, a hippie convent who is being influenced by Manson, a real life killer. You also have Sharon Tate. And she lives next door with Roman Polanski and some other people. Some people, and they're very famous and they live next door. And we kind of follow along her journey in Hollywood and being an actress herself.
Though. You don't really see too much,
but it felt completely pointless.
There was no reason for it. It was a red herring, is what it was.
Here's the thing: it was indulgent, right? And you're setting the scene. But we already have that indulgence with Leo's character, Rick Dalton. Rick Dalton, and Cliff.
I love Cliff.
I love Cliff too. He's really the highlight of the film. No, with Dalton as well. But anyway, so you see, we wanted to focus there, and instead we get too much meandering and indulgence with these other two plot lines. Whereas I think the Manson one, Joe, is a little bit more required. I think that one is more required
if you
towards
take
the
out
end.
Sharon and the Manson, then
I think if
done.
no, I wouldn't take out the Manson thing. I would take out Sharon Tate.
Well,
if you eliminate all Margot Robbie stuff, then we're good to go.
But you have to include it because you need to have something that kind. I mean, we'll have to talk a lot about it in spoilers, so never mind.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it in spoilers.
Okay.
But
you need.
yeah,
okay.
so
Not really.
well,
I guess you do. It is tied together with real life events, and that might be another piece of the movie where the Sharon stuff is a real life person, so you have to stay accurate. Same thing with the Manson family, stay accurate. And these other characters, of course, there was no Rick Dalton, but you get to do whatever the hell you want with it. Yeah, me too. And Cliff, know. So and Cliff has a fascinating backstory and also, like a past, and it's great character development, great character arcs that you just want to see play out, and I thought it was really satisfying, but it's one of those films that like I could see it maybe one more time, but then that's it, because it's so bloated.
Yeah, I couldn't. So this is going to be an impossible movie for me to rate, and I don't know if I would see this movie again. This is a movie that if I want to sit with
but the good parts.
Yeah, I want to watch and just eat up those scenes where they're in old Hollywood and they're talking to each other. The scenes that I love that Quentin Tarantino does, and then there's Sharon Tate going to the movie theater for 15 minutes, and I just need to be able to fast forward through that, or I go get popcorn or do something else because I do not want to sit through that again.
Exactly.
Knowing what I know now about how the movie develops.
This movie has a lot of fetishes in it. It has. Like I said, indulgence. What I'm talking about, indulgence of the theater.
Okay.
There's actually talk about fetish. There's a real fetish in it. I think Quentin Tarantino has a foot fetish or something. Just constantly sticking women's feet in the fucking screen. Dirty ass feet, even though she doesn't take her shoes off. I guess you imply that earlier she was walking around with her shoes off because her feet are dirty. And anyway, in your face all the time. I'm like, get these fucking feet out of the fucking screen. With every goddamn girl takes her shoes off and puts the feet directly into the camera's face. So that's a little fetish. But what I mean is the shots are slow, they're deliberate, they're setting up shots of just boots walking, shoes walking to the place, being at the place, moving to the next location. It's indulgent, So you have a series of some of the best filmed getting in a car and driving to the next place, speedily, Cliff. Cliff has his own. He drives around, his boss, but he has his own car, and when he drops his boss off, he hauls ass in it. And they get the camera right there, and he's obviously a really good driver because he's a stuntman. But we get 3, 4, 5 of these throughout the movie. And so it indulges itself in a lot of its, fetishes. The foot fetish, the fucking taking forever in the shots, showing some of these things. And then also, but one fetish that I really liked and one that was really good is the passion that they what are you, 12? The passion that they show of getting a line correct. He plays with the fact of a very romanticized wild western where the villain comes out to do battle, but really it is the villain coming out, the actor playing the villain coming out to do battle within a scene and really try to get his acting chops together, remember all of his lines, and really nail that scene. And this film, man, a lot of it culminates into one particular scene with Leonardo DiCaprio, and I really, really enjoyed it. And it was a perfect sort of passion, romanticizing acting and nailing the job.
Do you think it bordered on pandering?
No.
Well,
I
I
can see
mean-
how some people, would view it as that, but I don't view it as pandering at all. I love being a director. I love actors, and I
you love the Western.
You could see, and I love westerns.
Yeah.
So but you could see them. How people can turn it on and off. And it looks so easy to do that you're some villainous guy with, putting tension into the scene. And then you see them line, but then go right back into it, right? And he's having a scene opposite the hero.
It's just a dude playing a dude playing another dude.
He's having a scene opposite of the hero, who this hero character is nailing all his lines, getting slightly frustrated with the guy. But both of them are just delivering in a way and really putting together, good acting. So it just shows you how good of an actor Leonardo is, that he can play an actor He's an actor playing an actor playing another actor in the film, and turns it on and off.
He did.
And you could kind of see some of the behind the scenes stuff. And I didn't feel like it was pandering. I felt like it was overindulgent in some of the other parts. Not that particular part I'm talking about, where that scene was almost worth the price of admission alone. If you love the theater and you love sort of getting the passion of acting. And then the ending.
And the little bit of dark side of...
the dark side. Yeah,
the dark
coming
side
back.
of Hollywood, and it's a struggle to stay up top.
For sure. For sure. That's also good stuff, too. Mm-hmm. But then in the conclusion of the film, the climax, also worth the price of admission.
Yes,
and worth.
that was.
It's very weird, almost out of place, but it was really enjoyable.
Oh, I loved it. That's one of the best parts.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, I think this is going to be kind of like Birdman was a couple of years ago, where I loved Birdman, but I think Birdman got this like huge, because it's about an aging actor in Hollywood that it won Best Picture, and everyone's going to be like, this is the greatest movie that ever existed, because it's all the people in Hollywood, because they're like, that was me, because they see themselves in them. I think this is going to have that kind of thing where people are talking about this is one of the best Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, because it's going to be something that I think this is going to be a movie that wins a lot of awards. A lot of them.
Okay. Yeah. Do you think it's one of Quentin Tarantino's best, one of his worst, or where would you rank
this? That's for sure.
This one has a lot of scenes that I didn't appreciate, that were probably intentional, and I'm sure that's what the comments can be. You guys just didn't understand the majesty of wasting everyone's time with a red herring plot that is necessary.
There are two red herrings in the plot. They kind of set something up, never really pay off on it. But I think I kind of look at it as a slice of life. Sometimes you think something's happening, and maybe it's not what you thought it was, right? And that's just as a legitimate storytelling device, and almost fascinating in its own right, as if it had paid off in a different way, the way that you expected it to pay off. I just thought it was great. I could just feel like these two buddies, two buddies are in Hollywood doing their thing, and I don't know, I could feel the mutual love and respect between them, and the sort of the care and craft that goes into what they do.
Let's do a final verdict. I'm kind of curious to see what he has to say about it.
About the spoilers?
Yeah, go ahead and do the final verdict.
We can't really say much. I think we said
we said everything. The acting is superb. The
chemistry between them was great.
Chemistry is fantastic.
It was filmed beautifully.
There are parts in it that feel meandering, and don't go in expecting explosions and gun battles and all this other stuff. Even though the trailer kind of makes it, I love it. Fucking. Al Pacino comes in and he's like, I love it when you're going. It's not that kind of film. It's more the behind the scenes of what's happening in Hollywood and stuff like that. And as that, I think it does its job fantastically. But anyway, let's go to the final verdict so we can get eventually to our spoiler section. Who wants to go first?
Did not want to see this at all.
Well, then you should save his rating for the end.
No, I'm curious.
Fine.
Well, so I had issues with the way that this movie looked, because I thought that it was going to kind of go nowhere, and I was right. There was times where I think this movie was at least 1 hour too long for my taste. And
That's a lot of hour.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of time for a movie.
Yeah.
I would cut some.
But there was parts about that what I didn't expect. And it's like, look, I know that he's incredibly talented, and even some of his movies that I don't actually like, there are scenes in there that I love, and there were so many in this movie that I want to watch over and over again because you're going to get more out of it every single time you watch those scenes.
Yeah.
Just when you have just characters talking to each other. But then there's a third of the film that feels almost unwatchable, and so it's hard to rank that because you have like 10 out of 10 Tarantino type film, and then you have this kind of not good other part.
Filler.
Yeah. Well, it's and I don't know.
Filler in your opinion, or I don't know what to call it, but I agree.
Yeah, there's some slow parts. So, man, are we doing on a Tarantino scale or just like movie in general scale? Like
I think
we have to go
Tarantino's-
Tarantino.
This is a
scale.
7 for a Tarantino film, but this is an 8 for everything else because this is a really good film, and I think this is going to be a film that people are going to watch a lot. They're going to study how he did certain things. I just think that it suffers from being bloated and kind of.
It does make me excited for a potential Tarantino Star Trek.
Oh,
and like if this guy is still at this level. Come on, CBS or
Do
Paramount or whoever the fuck is in charge of the Star Trek property at this point. Do it. Let the man do his Star Trek, please. Joe?
I really love the chemistry between Leo and Brad Pitt. Every time they were on screen, I was like glued to it. I want to watch those again. Even when Cliff was with Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was great in this film.
Yeah.
I was like, holy
Well,
shit, this guy looks exactly like Bruce Lee.
He does.
But that was pretty funny. The soundtrack was great. I love that old music.
There was no Cher though.
There wasn't.
There's a lot of sort of CGI scenes where they put him in old movies, where he interacts with older characters of the old movies.
That was cool.
Fascinating.
The flashbacks were great.
It's beyond our time. This is before our time, right? But if you're a little older than us, you probably might appreciate the film even more.
Exactly. But like Alex said though, like there was a lot. The middle is what got me. Like I was completely turned off on that.
When she was at the theater, I was.
I was like looking over. I was like, man,
feet again.
Stop. Do something.
Yeah, I was getting mad with the feet up in my face. I was like, oh, get that.
Get your
It's my fucking car. This is my goddamn car. This is my goddamn windshield. Anyways.
Yeah, but like I said, the Manson family stuff to me was not really what I was going in for. I wanted to see more of the Hollywood life of this aging character. He was once a star. Now it's like dimming, and he's trying to get back on top. He's doing everything he can to stay there. And that chemistry with him and Cliff, kind of what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I wanted more from them at the end.
So I'm stuck between a 7 or an 8. Like I said, I would watch it again, but without the middle part. Let's go for an 8. Yeah.
So I'm at an 8. He's at an 8. It's a Tarantino 7. For me, it's a Tarantino 7. But I think
it's not his best. It's not his best.
I agree. It's not the Tarantino film that you would immediately tell somebody to go out and watch. I think it's enjoyable for Tarantino fans, and I think it's enjoyable for people who love the theater, love acting, love directing, love the behind-the-scenes stuff, love westerns. So it does appeal, in my opinion, to a lot of more people than I thought. I thought, I heard some bad things about it. Some people was like, I didn't really like it. I went in, I was glued to the screen, really enjoyed it. It went above my expectations. But you have to set your expectations. Yeah. If you go in here thinking this is Inglourious Bastards or there's going to be lots of action, I told my girlfriend, I was like, hey,
no, dialogue was great.
They're just going to be talking the whole time, and they're going to meander. And then I was like, I enjoyed myself. You know what I'm saying? So that's an 8 out of 10 for me. I really enjoyed it. I could watch it again, but I would have that feeling of, maybe I should fast forward through this part.
Yeah.
But I could give it one more time, then every single time after that, I'm fast forwarding through the rest of it. So, that indulgence part is not only helps hold it up, but it also weighs it down in a certain aspect. So that's our opinion on the film. I do recommend that you go out and see this one. And, let's get to the spoilers. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. And we'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys. Welcome to the spoiler section for Once Upon a Time in Mexico. No. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Wrong one.
No, Johnny
this
Depp
one's
wasn't
better
there.
than that one. Although the mariachi trilogy is fantastic.
Just watch the first
No,
one.
it's the El Mariachi, Joe, is the first one.
Yeah.
So El Mariachi.
And
Oh,
Desperado.
right.
That one's good.
That was the first one, and then the Desperado was the second one. Go watch those. And then the third one is called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
You'll be really confused, but
You'll be confused, but you'll get a better movie. So, so I didn't expect what happened at the end. So it's a story about behind the scenes. This guy sort of losing his Hollywood star, but then kind of finding it again. He's got to go to make some spaghetti westerns in Rome because current Hollywood is sort of treating him as a villain of the week. And Al Pacino explains to him that it's like your star is fading and it's getting tarnished because
You're
you
punching
used to be
bag
the
for
star.
these up and comers. Yeah.
Exactly. Great way of putting it. And then it's like, go to Rome, be your own star, beat up fucking bad guys again, and be Rick fucking Dalton again. And ultimately, he does do that. Brings his stuntman with him. They come back. And this whole time we've had this Manson storyline. We've had these hippies that Cliff has been seeing on the side of the street, wanting to get fucking picked up, and you say, is this going anywhere? Ultimately, the plot lines converge. The hippies are a convent who also follow Manson, and Cliff finally picks up one of the girl that looks like she wants to get with them. She takes him to the convent. And then a whole nother storyline forms where he's like, wait a minute, I know this.
They're taking advantage of George because George owns a place.
Right.
And there's all these hipsters there just living off his land, so they're just taking advantage of it.
They make it seem like he's dead,
Yeah.
and they're just living off his land, and then
like, oh, no,
George
he's
is in there, and
dead.
he's going to be dead. And no, and she's like, don't talk to, he's not going to be able to recognize you. Number one, he's blind. Number two, I fucked his brains out in the morning. And you're like, these motherfuckers are lying.
Yeah, if there's punji pits or something back there, and nothing comes of it. And the thing is, like, the problem
Nothing comes of it, and you're like, what the fuck? You set all this up. There's so much tension in the scene. And there's so many fucking hippies. I was like, oh my God, is Brad Pitt going to literally need to
That's
punch
what I
all
thought,
these hippies
like
in the
he
face?
looks back, there's just a line of them just waiting to see what happens.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit,
And
get
it's
out
the
of there.
little one that likes, and the girl's like so nervous with her. Like, well, why were they so nervous if everything was fine?
Well, and the scene didn't matter.
Well, here's why it did it didn't matter, but here's why they were nervous. Because technically, even though he's aware that they are there and they have permission to be there, they are still taking advantage of it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. They
But anyway, Cliff is like, well, if this is what he wants, then, he can't really do anything about it. He leaves. But, of course, the guy slashed his tire because the hippies hate him and stuff. And this was a badass scene.
Yes.
He's like, beats the shit out of him. He's like, you fucking fix it. Luckily, I got a spare. You fix this thing. And they fix it. But these hippies, you see, they're fucking pissed off that Cliff came in there, beat the fuck out of him, and left. So
I was expecting
later on
them
in the
to
film,
do something to him. Because,
Right.
like, oh, we got to...
We have to go after him.
him
No,
back. Let's get some revenge.
The scene
No.
had no impact on the story
Nothing.
whatsoever.
I was like, okay.
well, the impact is that they're now mad at Cliff, and they're driving around Hollywood looking to beat him up.
No, not at all.
That's not...
They were driving around Hollywood looking to beat up any random person.
No, they were sent.
There
They were
were-
sent to go to Tate's house to kill everyone in that house. That's
Yeah.
why Charles
Oh,
Manson showed up in the
that's
middle.
fucking
It literally
Tate.
had no impact
Yeah.
on the story
So
whatsoever.
I was
That's why I
thinking
said
it
you
was
don't-
linked.
Like, you
because
need to
No,
take out Sharon Tate and the Manson. Then you could just... have
give
a
me
better
more
story.
of like the Rick
Yeah.
and Cliff thing.
Yeah.
Because I wanted more from, like, they break up at the end of the movie, right? So Rick is like, look, we did my spaghetti westerns. My career's pretty much over. I'm going to sell my house. I'm going to go get a condo. I'm going to go live in, wherever I'm going to go live. But I can't afford you anymore. And they have like this one last night together. But I wanted more of them talking to each other because that could have been a really
They said they were
going
gonna
to
get drunk as fuck, and
they
I was like,
did.
"Yeah, I can't wait to watch this." But no, they go to the Mexican restaurant, they eat a lot of food, and then they go home. But they don't
Because
really.
they were also focusing on Sharon and her friends,
Right.
too.
And I was like, "Get out of here, Sharon!" But no, this is, I guess, the real life events that are tied to it that you have to focus on in order to make everything gel together and work. So basically, Cliff leaves at the exact time these hippies show up. He's actually on acid too because he bought a cigarette laced with acid from him.
50 cents.
And you think, oh fuck, the badass is gone. He's not gonna be able to help anybody. Fucking, Rick Dalton's in there. They're either gonna kill Rick Dalton or they're going to Sharon Tate's house, gonna kill them or kill everybody, right? But they're kind of fuck ups, They get out of their car and one of them gets scared, runs off.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot my knife in the car. Well, here's the keys. Oh yeah, thanks. And she just drives off.
What is her name? Maya Hawke, Uma Thurman's daughter.
Was that my Hawk?
Yeah.
From Stranger Things? Yeah. Shit, I didn't even recognize her. But anyway, so they drive off, and then they're like, no, Charlie told us to do this. We're going to do it.
We have to kill everyone in Sharon Tate's house.
Yeah.
Because he told us to kill that's why he showed up at the beginning of the movie. He's like, this used to be my
So
friends.
these idiots go to the wrong house?
Well, no, they're like, hey, Rick Dalton just yelled at us because our car is old, so let's go kill him first, and then we'll go kill everyone in the house.
No, that's not what the scene did.
Yeah,
that's exactly what the scene did.
Really?
He's like, this guy taught me. Like, I was like,
he's a movie star that killed a bunch of people in the theater, and he's responsible for all our violent tendencies. So we're gonna kill him first, then we'll go to Sharon Tate's house and kill him.
All right. So I guess I just didn't get the Sharon Tate link because I didn't know that whole thing.
Well, she was a red herring,
and so you're a little confused, but you guys picked up on it. So he's gonna go in there first, goes into that house. They don't find Rick Dalton. They find Cliff, who actually gets back in time.
Yeah. Which I don't understand because they were already walking up. And
more importantly, they found Brandy, his pit bull, who is amazing and adorable.
Brandy, beautiful. He's always feeding his
best
dog.
Ever.
Yeah, that's the best dog. Such a good girl.
Good girl. And he basically, it's so funny because like he's tripping. He's like, are you guys really here?
Are you actually real?
And then he points a gun at him, and then
he goes,
Cliff does his finger back at him.
I was like, no. And I was scared Cliff was.
I was scared Cliff was gonna die too. I thought he did die. Anyway, so he's like, he sicks his dog on the guy with the gun. Beats the fuck.
The lady in the back door sneaks in. She's charging at him with a knife. He has a canned dog food and just fucking chunks it in her face, breaks her nose. She's like screaming bloody murder.
This scene was so weird because the movie was about
Quentin Tarantino violence.
I was like, yes,
in a film that had zero violence, zero action.
I didn't expect it.
It was
so
out
it
of
goes
nowhere
from 0 to 100.
Yeah,
and I love that part.
Yes.
Oh, I loved every second of it. It just kind of felt out of place.
Throws that shit at her. She falls down. Then what else happens?
Then he keeps snapping his fingers at the dog change targets, and the dog chews the guy's genitals off, and then he bites the other girl, and then he breaks, and then someone gets lit on fire with a flamethrower. It was very good.
Okay, that was not a good. God damn it, Alex!
I want to give them everything.
But this is the fucking spoiler section. Anyways. So fine, yeah, all right, fine.
All the hippies
all
die.
those things happen, and fucking Rick Dalton brings out his old flamethrower that he apparently keeps in his shack from one of his older movies and just burns the shit out of these hippies.
And I was wondering if it was going to come out.
Yeah. So they take care of it, and then at the end, Sharon Tate and her friends are like, "Hey, what the fuck just happened over there?" And he's like, "Well, we fucking killed a bunch of hippies that tried to kill us." Just, wow.
Well, come on in for a drink.
Yeah, come on in for a drink. Really?
The end.
The end.
Oh, and Rick Dalton gets a hot Italian wife when he was over there in Rome. And so the one thing I didn't understand is, so there were some disjointed feeling areas where we had to have a narrator tell us all these different things, and that just felt like a different style, and it just felt disjointed when they're constantly having to go through these little montages.
You just don't get it, Joe. It was for effect.
Right, so, but then in the montage they say he went, made some money, he's got some money in his pocket.
But a lot of it went to his hotel.
Yeah, they did say that some of it went to the hotel, but they still said he had some change in his pocket, some money in his pocket. Yeah. Then the very next scene is like, I can't afford to pay you anymore. I was like, what?
Well, he says he's got a wife now. The property taxes. He's like, look, I'm going to sell every.
Yeah, but your taxes go down when you're married. So and he's been with that house the whole fucking time. I didn't buy it, so I thought that maybe in obviously he was talking very nervously, but that was because he doesn't want to betray his friend, and he doesn't want to fire his friend essentially. But he says, I don't have enough money, but I didn't believe it. I was like, what do you? I mean, you just went over there. You made a bunch of money. So I'm supposed to believe that he went over there, made a bunch of money, but didn't have enough money coming
Well,
back.
I thought that line where Kurt Russell said, well, he spent a lot of it on majority of it.
Yeah, on
place.
his lavish living up
Yeah.
in Rome, and so he has a little bit of
Alright.
money, but he doesn't have like,
Which I was like,
he doesn't
alright,
plan on
fine.
acting ever again.
Okay, so he fucks up, and he tells his friend he can't employ him anymore,
Yeah,
and they're gonna go their separate ways. And I was like, no,
Yeah.
yeah, but we
Right.
never got the closure because I kind of wanted to see them
but
talk
we didn't get the
about.
closure. So he may never work for him again, or he may work for him again because Rick Dalton becomes friends with some directors and Sharon
Yeah, but it's
Tate
Roman
at the
Polanski.
end, and
Nowhere.
Roman Polanski and all these other people.
It went nowhere.
And at the end, during the credits, he's doing cigarette commercials.
Well, that's from
I
the
think
Western
that's-
time, though.
yeah,
that's from earlier
it's
when he was on the
flashback,
TV
'cause
show.
There's a lot of
Okay.
flashbacks, so I assumed
Yeah.
that was another one.
Okay, well, I was hoping that maybe his star would be on the rise again, but I guess it is open to interpretation what
Yeah.
happens afterwards.
I'm just curious if Cliff ever got his bagel or not. the
Yeah,
next day.
seriously.
What
And
are
it
you
gets
talking-
dog
the
back.
bag?
They were talking about him, joking about him not getting his dog. He better get
Yeah.
that dog back.
No, he's getting the dog back. Obviously.
Well, he said that
Ju-
his
just
wife is
because-
sleeping with the dog, and he's like, "You may never get your dog." It was a joke, but you better get that
joke,
dog back.
Alex. Anyways, but I think that well, you fucking threw me off with that. Go ahead. Go talk about it.
Well, so,
Anything else we missed?
I don't think so. I mean, the Charles Manson thing goes nowhere. They don't. They only three of the Manson family get killed. Or the fourth person runs away, so that storyline goes nowhere. Sharon Tate lives. Roman Polanski's
yeah.
making movies, and I don't know. It doesn't. It just kind of wraps up at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sharon's character honestly didn't really.
Yeah, and so
it
we
didn't add
know
anything to it.
know that Margot Robbie can act, and all that we saw was like her facial expressions of people watching her act, and so they did almost nothing with her.
And what's interesting is they used real footage of Sharon Tate
Yeah.
while Margot Robbie is supposed to be Sharon Tate. That was like, wait a minute. You put Leonardo DiCaprio in older movies, but yet you didn't put
Well, one's
Margot.
existing, one's not. Like they.
True. I guess they didn't want to disrespect Sharon
Yeah.
Sharon Tate. Maybe that's what that was all about. Okay. But man, I had a point. I freaking forgot it. I can't think of it now. I know I'll think of it later, and I'll get pretty pissed off. Anyways, so what else? That's it. That's all in the spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, this is there was a couple
Charles
scenes.
Manson. We saw him once.
We saw him once. It was nothing.
He didn't kill anybody.
Yeah, it meant nothing.
He
There was
told his lackeys to kill somebody. They got
They're
fucking
just
killed
scoping out the
by
areas.
Cliff. And I thought Cliff got shot in the fucking head because this lady was screaming and she's shooting in the air. And I was like, oh, fuck. Cliff he drops like a fly. I was like, oh, he got shot in the face or something. But no, he was all right.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I remembered it. Do I need to do stuff we forgot? No, I remembered it
Okay.
now. Ready?
We're still gonna have to do stuff we forget.
Did Cliff kill his wife? Are we happy and in love with a character that is a piece of
Yeah.
shit
I
and
thought we were
fucking
gonna-
murdered his wife?
There was-
I thought that we were gonna go back.
You're
to
all
that
like,
later
woo,
on.
Cliff is the best. We love Cliff. He killed his wife, didn't he?
Not
I don't
necessarily. They
know.
show none of it.
Man, it was so funny because he's got the fucking harpoon gun sitting
He's
right
busting
there.
open a beer and just like
And
pretty
she's
much
just
aimed at her.
complaining to
No,
him.
he has it sitting there, and she walks in front of it.
And it could have just, they cut it right before, but he could have just went.
Well, there's a lot of like
killed it.
similarities because like this actually happened in Hollywood. I mean, the Robert Wagner, Christopher Walken, Natalie Wood thing. It's just
That somebody died out there, international waters, can't prove it, threw the body overboard maybe, who knows, so.
Or you just got so mad that you let your wife that can't swim, and then you just, she disappeared
Yeah,
Right.
just so
forever.
happens to do
It
that.
was Christopher Walken.
Another thing that you just reminded me about is another Cliff scene when he's fighting Bruce Lee.
Yeah. God damn it, how dare we not
That
speak
was
about this.
great.
So it was great, and, I was trying to think to myself, wait a minute, like we're laughing, we're having a great
that
time, but
wouldn't
they're
happen.
shitting on fucking Bruce
I was
Lee.
like, yes, I was like,
no.
that one. That's a funny scene. But that
I
wouldn't happen.
fucking love Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
I was Melissa. I was like, I love Bruce Lee.
It was a weird scene because like
And
Bruce Lee
fucking
shits on
Cliff
the.
beats the
Yeah.
shit out of Bruce Lee. I was like,
Yeah, because
Wow.
it's during.
And they made Bruce. Well, here's the thing. Bruce is not a saint. Let's not pretend that Bruce it can do no wrong. Bruce was cocky. You
Yeah.
know, he is on record, and people have said that very many times he would be on set and he would challenge people. You know,
Which
he'd
is
be
what
boasting
happened.
about
Which
himself.
is what happened.
Well, that's what happened.
Yeah.
And I guess Quentin Tarantino is trying to say that Bruce Lee wasn't all that badass, and Cliff would have kicked his ass. Some random stunt man who's really good at fighting.
We don't know
would
yet.
beat
It's
up a
one-
martial
it was
arts
1 to
master who
1.
trained with like a motherfucker with no. I don't think so. And the way he threw him into the car and that fucking dent that Bruce Lee made in that car, no fucking way.
Yeah, it was an awkward scene.
But I
because-
loved it.
Yes.
Even though I love Bruce
That
Lee so
was-
much, and I'm thinking, no, Cliff would not be able to beat up Bruce Lee. I'll still buy it. I still enjoyed it. I really love the scene. It's making a point.
And we will never know who won. 'Cause there was 1-1.
This didn't happen, Joe.
It was 1-1. It did in the film.
Okay, but fine. Yeah, you're right. It was 1-1, but Cliff had a bigger one than Bruce Lee's
He
one.
did.
I mean, he got slammed into a car, and it looked like Cliff had the upper hand. But no, they screamed, "What the fuck is going on here?" Kurt Russell and I guess his wife and
Karen.
yeah,
It's always
she
Karen.
fucking said, "Get
my
the
car."
fuck off
Well,
the
that was
set."
her
Wife,
car.
you wife murderer, get off my set.
Right. So
Yeah.
he gets fired from that, and he's over there, and he's remembering this as he's fixing Rick Dalton's antenna. Brad Pitt takes his shirt off. Got to bring this up. Takes his shirt off. This man is 55 years old, and he looks fucking great. I was like, all right, Brad. Good job, dude. Because we all make fun of Joe because when Henry Cavill comes out of the water in Superman,
Every single
time we bring this up, well, you know what?
Well-
I have that moment. My moment where I did the, was when
likes
Troy
old men.
in the movie Troy, when Brad Pitt has his shirt off and he shows up and he's like ready for battle and he's putting on his armor. That's my moment of, right? So
Yes.
Joe's is Henry Cavill, mine is Brad Pitt, and I was like, damn, dude,
We'll find
you're
Alex's
still.
scene.
We'll find out.
I haven't found mine yet, but we will.
Soon.
We'll
We will
get there.
find
We'll
out.
get there.
Yes.
But he still looks good is the point I'm trying to
He
say.
does.
He's staying in shape, keeping good. And Brad Pitt is so funny in this film.
This is his
so
movie.
good. So good.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to talk about too is like I thought Leo was actually gonna have a stutter because from time to time, like kind of his character had a little stutter.
Yeah,
I was
he
like,
did.
is it gonna do something with that or
No,
it was just something
I don't know. I thought it was maybe an actor thing, practicing, or
No, he definitely had a little bit of a stutter,
Okay.
and then but every time he was acting
Yeah.
acting within the movie, then
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Who's the little girl's name? Was her last name Fawcett? Is she a real person, or she's just a fictional character made up for this particular film?
the back of her chair said
Trudy
Lancer
or
on the back of it.
Oh, Lancer? I
Because
thought it
that
was
was the
Fawcett or
family. Because she was supposed to be Luke Perry's like daughter or something,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's the fictional name. I don't think we got her.
That was the fictional name.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought they were trying to say like because she's so intelligent, she acts like an adult, and it seemed like they were alluding that in the future she would be like a big time movie star. But then they were also making an allusion to the fact that Rick Dalton's reading this story, and he doesn't
that's
it
great.
doesn't really click with him that the person in the story used to be awesome and now is not awesome. And Rick is like, oh. Fuck,
it's all Al
that's me.
Pacino's fault because before that he was fine, but he made him realize, hey,
that
you're
Al
getting
Pacino
old.
scene was
Yeah.
brutal because it was very long and it was
Crushed his
it was
world.
gratuitous, right? Because so they
You can see it in his face.
Yeah.
well, Al Pacino's telling him like what a piece of shit he is, and you're like, okay, and then it goes on for another 2 minutes. You're like, oh god damn, Al Pacino in this movie is savage, and it breaks down.
savage.
Yeah, he goes in the parking lot and
But
he
then
starts
ultimately
crying.
he likes him, and
He's
he
like,
wants
put
him-
these
Oh
on.
no, but I mean, like that's something that like this movie does a lot because he also has a conversation with Timothy Oliphant, where Timothy Oliphant's like poking fun at him, saying, "Hey, how come you weren't in The Great Escape? I heard that you were going to get in The Great Escape." And then they drag this conversation out, and he just sits there getting whipped by someone who's actually the star of the show now, and it was now the leading man, and he's not. So
Yeah, they
there's
did
a
the
lot of
hard
that.
cuts too. Did you
Yeah,
notice that
there was a lot
too?
of them,
It was
yeah.
kinda
Yeah.
weird.
So odd for a Quentin Tarantino film that he needed to fall back and rely on some of these kind of disjointed moments where there's either random narration or hard cuts or some I don't know. But for everything that there's an odd one, there's a really well done scene.
Yeah.
I think there was way more well done ones than there were odd ones, so ultimately it works out in the end. But the point I was trying to make is, he's like, you're gonna be. He makes a comment to her like, just wait 15 years. You'll
be the
be-
one. Yeah. How old
She's
are
like,
you?
what?
You're 12. Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, is that a real life actress or something? But no, I guess it was a fictional one. Yeah, just lots in the film. Maybe too much in the film.
You said that you definitely recommended this one. I don't know
I do.
if this
I
is.
do
I
recommend.
don't think that I could recommend this film to everybody. This is a movie that you
Yeah.
have to kind of. I wouldn't
Yeah, you're
walk
right.
into a store like the local game store, like, hey, how was the movie? And then I'll be like, you'd like it. Not any of the rest of you,
Yeah.
because you have to appreciate certain
Well,
things.
you know what? I'm glad I recommended it anyway. They'll find out really quick, what kind of movie viewer they are. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's still good, but I think there's going to be a lot of people that watch this movie, realize how well made it is, and just go, you know what, this isn't for me.
Yeah, and that's totally fair too. But I enjoyed it.
That's
Anyways,
how I feel with that.
I thought I wouldn't enjoy it. I enjoyed it. I do want a non-director's cut for the first time ever. Everybody's like, I want a director's cut. I want a non-director's cut where you take out, some of the unnecessary stuff.
What's his name? Tim something got cut from the movie.
yeah, Roth.
Yeah, he got cut from the movie.
He's in a bunch of Tarantino movies and got cut from this one. So
Yeah, you see him in the credits as cut.
Yeah,
I was
like,
I
oh.
was like, really? You couldn't do like 5 minutes of just
Yeah.
Tim? We're already at 2 hours before
Yeah,
45.
Yeah, what's
that in
30
the
more
credits,
seconds?
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
Everyone was in this movie. I mean,
Yeah.
like Kevin
Funny.
Smith, Donner's in. I mean, everyone, because there's all these famous people are like, you see him for 2 seconds as Manson family members. You're like, wait, is that so?
Little cameos from
Yeah.
the previous actors he's worked with, except for one cut. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. This was long, but hey, the film was long. All right.
Yes.
We'll see you on the next Angry Joe show. Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys.